It's not having it, is it? It's got it. There we go. Now, Instagram, apologies. And I'm going to explain why the setup is a little different for 2 reasons. So if you're usual, then you'll know that usually I'm over there in the temple space and I've got the altar behind me and you can kind of tap into those temple energies whilst I'm giving these temple talks. But today I've just brought home something extremely beautiful and very exciting for the temple, and it is doing its thing over there. But I don't want to show other people before I show the creator of what's over there. So you're not going to see it. I'm not going to spoil it for them by showing you guys first, I'm afraid. So that's why I'm over here at my desk, and you have a beautiful look at just a very small fragment of my collection of books. If you're on Instagram, you've only got one bookcase behind you. It goes on for a long time. It goes on. So yes, that's why we're in a slightly different setup. And Instagram, you might be getting some weird different noises from the computer that you're currently perched on, because I've had several emergencies the past few days, and one of them was that my phone stopped working. So finally got a new phone. That's great. But I also got a tablet as well, so I can have a separate like personal life and work device. So you're on the work device because hello, this is my full-time job, luckily. And I haven't yet got all the techie gadgety bits that I need to like put you on a tripod. So they're on the way. So I apologize if you've got some weird kind of computer noise coming at you, but I hope that doesn't get in the way. So now we've got all the disclaimers out of the way. Welcome to the Temple Talk. And this one was voted by yourselves a couple of weeks ago now on the topic of our inner warrior. Now, during this temple talk, it'll be about half an hour, if I can keep track of the time. Yes, I can. Be about half an hour, so we'll be finishing at about 7:30. And this, I'll talk you through the different aspects of the inner warrior archetype and kind of what it is as a generalization, why we would want to tap into the inner warrior aspect, and how we can do that. I'll give you like a few short and simple ways that you can do that. And then we'll go on our merry way and enjoy the rest of our Friday evening. How lovely. These events are completely and totally free, but to ensure that they do remain so, we do rely on donations from your lovely, beautiful selves. If you're on Facebook and YouTube, then in the bio, you will find a link to our PayPal, which you can just go and donate whatever amount you like, 50p, 50 quid, whatever you want to throw in there is very much appreciated. If you're on Instagram, the link to our PayPal is in the bio. And you can also join our Patreon to get the meditations as well. Now, this week, we won't have a meditation at the end of this talk because my throat is still a little bit rough. And I don't want to subject you all to like just taking you to like the brink of nirvana and then having a coffin seems quite mean. So I won't be doing that to you this week. Facebook saying I've got a comment, but it's not showing it to me. It does this every time. My God, I hate Facebook. I apologize that I can't see your comment. That does suck. I'm sorry, whoever's commenting. That's really bad. I'm hoping Facebook is just still loading up and it will show me whatever that comment was. But hey ho. There we go. So, yes, the inner warrior. So when I speak of archetypes, I'm sure most of us know that archetypes generally are referred to as, or the term archetype was created by Carl Jung, the like socio-psychologist in the 1800s, late 1800s. My psychology teachers from high school would hate me that I can't remember that. But alas, I think sometime in the 1800s. And he saw archetypes and used them as a way to describe these collective kind of experiences of energy. He didn't put it quite so woo-woo as that, but that was the gist of it. And I always see archetypal energies as a portal, that they're one of the many routes to achieve whatever it is we may want to achieve. So if we want to feel more sensual, then we will call on the archetype of the lover or the whore. If we want to feel, more, I don't know, if we want to feel smarter, then we can call on the archetype of the mystic or the master, the creator. So the archetype of the inner warrior For me, and you'll see why, I won't explain this to begin with because you'll see slowly but surely why this is the case, but I see the archetype of the inner warrior as a real potent portal of energy to tap into authenticity. Now, authenticity is essentially living in your truth as much and as often as you can. I would like to say at all times, which would be lovely, but for some people that's not practical straight away, and that can seem very off-putting if you're like me, a perfectionist, and if you take up a hobby and you don't immediately become Da Vinci at it, then you cast it asunder. So yes, living in your truth as often as you can and that you want to, which should hopefully be all the time. And living authentically is a real, like, bold, empowering move. It somehow will simultaneously really help heal your inner child, your inner teen. That seems to be trending at the moment, so have at that as well. I'm really bummed I'm not seeing the comments on Facebook. I'm sorry, there are 2 comments now. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. What a hassle. If I will personally read your comments after the live stream has ended, and if it warrants a reply, then I will reply. But if you really want me to see your message now, like if it's pertinent to what we're talking about, you can hop over to Instagram. I seem to be getting comments there. I'm so sorry, guys. What a pain. Absolute pain. But alas, so yes, the archetype of the inner warrior is all about authenticity. So to look at an archetype and to begin to understand where and why we want to tap into it, it's good to look at the light aspect of it and the shadow aspect. Everything in this world comes with a polarity and everything in between. And archetypes of the inner warrior is no different. So when it's in its light form, it's kind of best potential, the most beautiful, the most perfect form of the inner warrior. They are dedicated. They have a mission. They know their purpose, and they do everything that they can to continue that legacy or to continue to reach and live that purpose. Everything they do is infused with that sort of movement of purpose. If you think about a warrior of any kind from any sort of age or eon that you prefer, they will, let's look at the Romans to march from place to place. Most like warriors would do this, but they would chant together with purpose, with conviction, and with drive and momentum to keep that energy going. A bit like when you chant in a spell, it's to like get the energy going. So they're dedicated, always moving in that energy of whatever it is they are dedicated to. So for me, my purpose and my mission is the Temple of Cornwall. That's what I came here to do. That's what I'm doing. And it's what I will always continue to do. Everything I do is infused with the idea and the energies of expanding out this temple to everything it needs and wants to be. And that's an aspect of the inner warrior in its light. And they're also very strong when they're in the light aspect. So when I say strong, I mean obviously like physically strong. While I was writing out my notes, all I had going through my head was that song from Mulan, I'll Make a Man Out of You. So some of my notes might be influenced by that. But yes, obviously physically strong, but mentally strong as well, to do what a warrior needs to do, to learn what they have to learn to be so skilled at their chosen craft, I suppose you could call it. That there has to be an awful lot of mental strength involved and support as well. Now, this might not need the disclaimer, but disclaimer, I'm not talking about modern day soldiers. That is a whole different barrel of energy that I'm not equipped to talk about. I don't fully understand the breadth and depth and the horrors of what happens in modern warfare, thankfully. Very lucky with that. So I'm not talking about, to be a soldier, you must be mentally strong and never suffer. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the archetype. So if anything that I say does trigger anything in you like that, then do remember that it's the archetype I'm talking about, not your personal experience of this. But it is all right to get triggered by these things. It just shows you kind of what needs some love and care and attention in yourself. So anyway, yes, the mental strength as well. And also that clear vision, which kind of leads back to the dedication thing. It's that clear, almost, not quite, but almost tunnel vision of, so again, for me, I want to create this temple. This is my mission. This is my drive. This is why I've reincarnated on Earth at this time to do this. That's my vision. That's my focus. Like an archer with their bow and arrow, they have to have such clear, like, vision, like actual vision, to aim, really, which is not one of my strong suits, which was much to my father's dismay as he tried to get me into archery. So instead he taught me how to fight with a Viking longsword, which was incredibly fun, and I still have it downstairs. So yeah, two very different practices there. And then so the archetype and the light, they're very loyal. They are loyal to their, you know, to their king, to their country, to their regiment, you know, whatever their kind of, wherever their loyalties lie, they stick with it. Now, this really got me thinking about the Arthurian legends and how staunchly devoted Lancelot was until he wasn't, until he had the affair with Queen Guinevere. And yeah, it's that loyalty of like sticking with your brethren. Hi everyone that's joining. Sticking with your brethren or your sisterhood or your sacred siblings, really, and being loyal to yourself as well. And this is where the authenticity comes in, being loyal to what do you really want to do in this now moment? Do you want to sit here and do your work, like, begrudgingly? Or do you want to take a 5-minute break, go and have a Kit Kat chunky and a cup of tea and read your favorite book? And having the kind of, I mean, the courage to go and have a Kit Kat chunky does sound rather strong, but the courage to go and live authentically, whether that be doing something courageous or eating a Kit Kat chunky, whatever floats your boat. But it's that loyalty to yourself as well, to always trust in your own vision, in your own purpose as well, to trust that that is your truth and that moving forward with that is perfect. And then we come to, I've written faithful. That's just a different word for loyal, isn't it? Let's scrap that out. So empowered is another aspect of the light version of the inner warrior. So when I speak of empowerment, there are many, many roads that lead to empowerment. This is just one of them. And empowerment does seem to be a buzzword, which is good. It means that more people are aware that this is a thing that they either are or that they can strive to achieve, which is lovely. So don't be put off by the fact that it's trendy or whatever. Like, I think it's good that empowerment's trendy. So let me grab a drink of water. I'm aware that's a gin glass. It's not gin. I've been sober for 8 years. It's just water. I just like to drink it out of a fancy glass. So yes, empowerment. So the empowered aspect comes from, again, it's that level of trust in your own, in yourself, that level of trust in your own power. So when we think of a warrior, they have to, I would hope nobody ever went into battle thinking that they were a bit pathetic and that they didn't quite have the strength to carry the axe, or that they didn't have the vision for the archery or whatever it might be. I would like to think that they were very confident in their abilities to do what needs to be done in battle. I think if I say the word, I'm going to get flagged, and then Facebook really won't work. But yes, to do what happens in battle. And yeah, so it's that level of trust that comes with empowerment. And like I said, that this pathway to empowerment might not fit and suit everyone, and that's perfectly fine. That is really fine. There are so many routes to empowerment. I got myself way off track there. So my brain just emptied the vessel, and now it's gone. We'll move on to the next thing, and we'll come back to empowerment as and when it comes back to me. And justice is the final aspect of the inner warrior when it's in its light. So justice, it can come in two forms, and it depends on your own personal theories and beliefs about karma. Now, I believe karma exists, but I believe that also doesn't mean that we should just sit back and let that take care of itself. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying go out and hex everyone that's ever like slightly bugged you, but sorry. But, you know, go and seek justice. If you were assaulted, go to the police and hope that they listen. If you were, you know, wronged in some way, if you were robbed, whatever, seek the justice that is available in this physical world. That doesn't get you in trouble. Again, not that sort of warrior. Don't be seeking that out. Yeah, but so yeah, that's my view on karma. I'm aware that many view it as almost like a westernized view of nirvana, as in, yep, karma exists, but I am clean and pure and perfect. So anybody who wrongs me, the karma is on them, and I just have to kind of sit back and let the universe send stuff their way, which is valid, has its strengths and its weaknesses. And I know some people believe it's all a bit hooey and just love to send a good old hex. Whatever works for you, as long as you're safe and not genuinely harming anyone. So yeah, so depending on where you fall within the remits of your beliefs about karma, then the justice can come in a number of ways. So if you can hear my dogs play fighting with each other, and they've stopped. Yeah, the justice comes in a number of ways. So it can come in as in you, let's say, for example, you were assaulted as a teenager, no matter what age you're at now or what stage of life you're at now, seeking out the justice for that person who never got the punishment that they very much deserved. You know, in whatever way that works, whether that's the police or the media, or, you know, whatever works. That's the way to kind of, you can be the enforcer of karma. That's what I'm trying to say. You can be the enforcer of karma by seeking out the kind of the physical world of the 3D form of justice that lets that person know that you are not to be messed with, that you know what they did was hideous and wrong and disgusting, and that they're going to pay for it now, that they've spent too long just resting on the laurels thinking they got away with it. So that's what I mean when I say justice, because those are my beliefs about karma. Kind of, yeah, karma will get you, but not if I get you first. That's my sort of beliefs summed up. Facebook really isn't working, is it? Again, still not showing me comments. It's going to show me insights. Is that going to work? Sorry, Instagram and YouTube. I'm just trying to keep getting comments, and it's not showing me. Oh well. Sorry, Facebook, I'll read them at the end. So yes, that was the archetype of the inner warrior in their light. So now let's discuss the shadow. So if we think of the shadow as a mercenary and the light as a knight of the round table in King Arthur's legends, if we think of it that way, then you can begin to see much more clearly. Sorry, different. Facebook is going crazy. Anyway, yes, mercenary and knight of the round table, we can look at those two, and then we can begin to see and kind of form our own ideas of what it means to be an inner warrior, either in our light, aka Lancelot or Bedivere at the round table, or be in the shadow as a mercenary, as more of like a Genghis Khan type figure, even though I know he wasn't a mercenary. And I know I'm not pronouncing that right. So apologies, but I feel like I would butcher it even more if I tried to give it the proper pronunciation. So when the inner warrior is in its dark aspect, in its darker aspect, we begin to see that the energies are too intense to hold. But whatever their feelings are, whether it be, you know, good or bad, but it's usually bad when we're talking about the shadow of the inner warrior, it's far too intense for their body, for their inner temple. It's far too harsh for that to hold. It's too much for them. And then that blows out and spills over into big bursts of anger. So if you're somebody who does experience quite a lot of anger, as in you yourself have anger issues, then then that's a good sign that you're, or a bad sign, I'm not sure, but a sign anyway, that you are in your shadow aspect of your inner warrior. And this, my therapist always said something very good when I would talk to him about my experience of other people's anger. And he would always say that the anger is hiding another emotion, and then we'd dig deeper into what would be the other emotion, and then I'd feel sorry for the person, more sense and whatever. So it's that lies beneath the anger. It's usually fear of something. So in the case of the inner warrior in the shadows, so let's say the mercenary, it's usually fear of settling down. It's usually fear of death. Even some people have a real fear of death and then almost seek that out. That there's so many things to be fearful of in this world, I'm afraid. So yeah, the mercenary is, feels the fear in such an intense way, but they're almost fearful to feel the fear. Does that make sense from a waffling? Fearful to feel the fear. And that then spills out into the anger. And they're very pained as well. It's the, in another life, if they, had a different kind of brain, there'd be a romantic poet who felt the depths and breadth of the heartache and whatever it may be. But instead that they feel the fear of any pain, and instead of, writing a lovely floofy poem, they, get angry with it, that they want to not feel that way. It's very toxic masculinity. That coming to me, very toxic masculinity. And fighting for no reason or any reason. Like a mercenary is a fighter for hire. It's that idea of just up for a fight. You always, as a Manchester lass, if you can't tell from my accent, apologies. But as a Manchester lass, and this is probably a thing all over the world, if not just this country. But there's, when I was younger on a night out, there'd always be that one guy in the club or in the bar. They're like, oh yeah, I'm not going over there. That's, he's just up for a fight with somebody. It's that sort of energy, just wanting the pain, wanting the fight, really just to kind of cathart it out, just to feel the catharsis of it all. So that is the mercenary, the shadow aspect of the inner warrior. So now let's switch our lens a little bit. Now we've learned a bit more about the archetype of the inner warrior. Let's see why we would want to be in our light, because I hope you all want to be in the light version of your inner warrior. It's a lovely place to be. So this becoming into the light version of the inner warrior archetype within us, it really helps us find our way through life's chaos and confusion with conviction, with that clear vision that I was talking about before. And it's that clarity of purpose. And again, it's not always easy to know your purpose and then enact upon it. They're two very different skill sets, I think, and both quite seemingly out of reach, I think. Seemingly they're not out of reach, but they seem it and they feel it, which is fair. That's very valid. So tapping into the light of the inner warrior can help us move forward with that sense of drive and purpose and conviction and that clear vision as well. And it also helps us to let go of the confusion and the chaos of life. If you think, not that I have much battlefield experience, if any, but there's a scene in Outlander where they're fighting at Culloden, where I can't remember the exact ins and outs of it, but essentially they're all, I think it's focusing on Jamie. But anyway, one of the characters is fighting somebody else, and everything else, all the other fighters sort of blur around him. It's just him focused on the other person who's in front of him. And that to me is that kind of letting go of confusion, letting the chaos rage around you as it wants to do, but just knowing that you are the eye of the storm, you are the calm within, and that nothing is going to deter you or distract you from moving forward, fighting for justice, doing what your life's mission is, whatever you're dedicated to as well. And I feel like we could all let go of confusion every now and then. It's very easy to get lost in the was going to say the drama, but that doesn't seem fair. That kind of trivializes it. But you get the idea, hopefully. And mastering a skill. If you're somebody who really, again, a bit like me, really wants to master a skill, but you don't get it right in the first try, so you're like, well, sod it. If you're somebody like that, then calling on your inner warrior and its light aspect can be really empowering, because it will give you the kind of strength to go, okay, yeah, I was naff at watercolouring the first time, but I'm going to be even better the second time, even better the 50th time, and master by the 100th. It will give you that sort of big picture perspective, like a night on the training field, having to do the drills again and again and again, just to keep getting it into muscle memory. So yeah, if you're somebody who wants to master a skill, for some reason, when I was writing out my little notes for this, chess came to me. And apologies. I think that's because in one of my tarot decks, the Arthurian tarot deck, they use, I can't remember what it's called, but one of their suits is a chessboard. And that was all kind of, if you think of it as like Game of Thrones, like how I'm getting really in depth now. I'm way off topic. But yes, if you're interested in that, go and find that tarot deck. It's beautiful. So yeah, mastering a skill and kind of, learning to get the bigger picture on how to master a skill and how realistically long it takes to master a skill. And also, like I mentioned before, empowerment as well. There's so many paths to empowerment, but a real good one is the inner warrior. And we'll get onto how to kind of start you on your path to empowerment via the inner warrior. But I love it. If you want that real kind of like bolshy teenager rebel energy almost for your empowerment practices, but kind of distilled into like a responsible container, I'm telling you what, this inner warrior stuff is perfect for that. So I'm gonna grab another drink, sorry. So close to being better, it's infuriating. Like, it's just my tonsils that are just still a bit rough. And I just want to be able to sing again. Oh my God. So anyway, how to invoke and embody your inner warrior in its light aspect, and when you'd want to do this. So before I get into the hows, let's talk about the whens. So this would be, like I mentioned, anytime you want to feel empowered or practice your empowerment journey, and when you want to enact justice in whatever way you can, whether that's spiritually or physically through the means of, the justice systems we have in place, if they work for you and your privileges. If not, then I'm not the person to talk on those things, because I have no experience and I'm not a teacher of said things. So the ways that I like to invoke and embody my inner warrior is to get quite masculine with it. Now, if you know me personally in like, day-to-day life, you'll know that I'm, despite current appearances, quite feminine, quite in my kind of lover archetype, very goddessy. But I like to get real, like, wild and feral and masculine when calling in my inner warrior. So this would be like a beating your own chest, not like monkey, but like beating on your own chest. A bit like, and I'm going to say this, it's all I'm going to think about when I do this, but that scene in Wolf of Wall Street where Matthew McConaughey's doing that at the dinner table and humming. That's not a bad way, actually. That's really good. So that's one thing that you can try, and really do it kind of in tune with your heartbeat if you can. And with the, either chant if you don't want to hum, or hum with the intention to really like bring yourself home to your masculine self, like you're a Roman soldier marching somewhere with that chant while doing that as well. Or you can drum as well, if you don't want to like beat on your chest or anything, you can use a drum of any kind, or even like your thigh, whatever you want to do. And any masculine movements as well. So for me, that's, I forgot the name of the pose. I had a very specific like stretch in mind, and I thought to myself as I was writing it, I don't need to write that down, I'll remember it. It's always a rookie mistake, isn't it? Okay, take that then as you want. Whatever masculine movements means to you, do that. Staff tapping. If you have a staff, and I have a beautiful one, I should have put it over to show you. But if you have a staff of any kind, like a magical staff, you can use that. And instead of when you would beat on your chest or your drum, your thigh, use your staff and beat it into the earth, like penetrating the grass or the soil or whatever it may be, gently. Let's be nice to nature. But tapping in, and again humming and kind of getting that rhythm going as well. And one of my favorite things to do, now this is both for empowerment and inner warrior, like I said, kind of one and the same thing, is setting boundaries. Sorry, I love nothing more than to say no to people. And that sounds like a joke, but I'm so serious with it. I love saying no, because I used to hate it. I used to be so scared to say no to, like, no, I don't want to come to like your birthday party, Sandra. It used to fill me with such dread that I would upset and bother people. Now I love it. I love to say no. So really setting the boundaries in a polite way. Don't be an arse about it. Be nice. But yeah, setting the boundaries, and it's again, it's like dedication to your authenticity, to your truth. I don't want to go to your birthday party, but I'm going to be nice about it and tell you, no, I can't make it that evening. And you don't have to give an excuse. You just, you don't have to, depending, if it's nicer to give an excuse, perhaps do. Maybe your birthday party wasn't the best example, but you get the idea. Knowing where your boundaries are and knowing that you're happy with them, and then enforcing them, and this is when it does get slightly more difficult, is when other people breach those boundaries or attempt to breach those boundaries. What do you then do with that person? Do you have a discussion? Do you, release them from your life? What works for you? Oh, I know Marge Simpson then. But yeah, in whatever way that means to you, you can move forward with that as well. And setting boundaries is, if you're kind of a newbie to the whole empowerment thing, welcome, hello. But yeah, if you're new, then setting boundaries can seem so scary, which is totally valid. That's totally a fine way to feel. But to me, that was a real good place to start with my empowerment journey. So I do recommend, if you're wanting to become more empowered, I mean, this is a separate talk. But yeah, if you wanted to get empowered, start with setting boundaries and invoking your inner warrior, and kind of in its light aspect, and move slowly but surely through that as well. And then the final thing on how to invoke and embody your inner warrior is to hold a dedication ritual to something that you hold near and dear. So let's say for me, it's the Temple of Cornwall. That's my purpose. That's my life's mission. One of my life's missions. So you could hold a dedication ceremony to that. You could hold a dedication ceremony to embodying your inner warrior, to kind of exploring that part of yourself more. Or just, whatever your life's mission is. And that, I think, my lovelies, is everything that I wrote down. I can't remember the name of that stretch that I was going to suggest, so I do apologise. But yes, my lovelies, thank you so much for joining me for another Temple Talk. On Monday, if you're on Instagram, hello. On Instagram, on the stories, I'll be posting a couple of poll options, so you can kind of pick and choose what you want. Am I free? What am I doing next week? Yes, there will be a Temple Talk next Friday, so you can vote for kind of the options that you want then. So it's all up to you, whatever I talk about next week. So yes, have fun with that. And you have the whole weekend ahead of you now. How amazing is that? So go and enjoy your weekend, my lovelies. I will see you Sunday afternoon for the healing sessions. And then, a whole new week. How amazing. Enjoy your weekend, lovelies. And thank you so much for joining me in the Temple space. And I hope you learned something fun and new. Lots of blessings to you all. Bye. Bye, YouTube.